Today, 2% of global energy is consumed to cool and power data centers. In 7 years, that will balloon tenfold as data globally exceeds 149 zettabytes. That power consumption will generate an exponential burden of heat to be absorbed by our oceans. Is your data center already part of the solution? Has a single array saved the equivalent CO2 of 4,000 gallons of gasoline, delivered 1,000% more storage density by running fewer units per rack, with architecture that reduces e-waste by extending its growth and longevity? That is our customer's present state. Today, we level up by extending our collective focus to the next 10 years. This is day 2 of Accelerate 2023. And now, please welcome Chief Legal Officer, Nikki Armstrong.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, wow. Okay, we were at like standing room only yesterday. I see empty seats. Who spent the night out in the casinos? I think we know who. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Are you pumped up for day 2? Okay, this is good energy. It's okay energy. Well, I'm excited. I want to welcome you back to day 2 of Accelerate 2023. Yesterday, we rolled our sleeves up and unpacked a bunch of what we've been working on at Pure for you. And today, we're going to talk about what those innovations mean as you level up not only today, but for years to come. So let's pull back the lens and take a 30,000-foot view of where we're headed. And we're going to do this with the help of some of Pure Storage's greatest thought leaders. These veterans know not only where the industry has been, but more importantly, where we're going. And so, well, actually, before we get started, I have a special announcement. So, when you come to Vegas, what do you come here to do? Okay, it's for a conference today, but what do you usually come to do? What? Win, right? All right, so I get to actually announce the winner of the early registration of the Formula One VIP experience at the US Grand Prix in Austin. So excited? Are you excited? So who registered early? All right, this is exciting. All right, so legal told me to say this. Hang on, I am legal, right? Yeah, all right, we have to be here to win, so that's the only caveat. So if you're not here, I can't give this exciting prize to you. So, are you ready? Charlie Coleman, are you here? Charlie Coleman. Oh, Charlie Coleman was at the tables too late last night. Charlie Coleman going once, going twice. All right. Charlie Coleman. All right, I'm going to go to my number 2. I hope you're here. Ivan Byrne. Ivan, don't tell me that you were at the tables too. Ivan? Does anyone know Ivan? He's from Nextiva. You know Ivan? Where is he?
I have no idea.
You might want to text him and tell him to get down here if he wants a prize. Okay, he's asleep, exactly. I heard that. He's probably asleep. All right, fine. Ivan, you're done. All right. I hope number 3 is here. See, I had backup. I'm legal. We're always prepared. Christopher Waugh, are you here?
Oh my God,
yes! Yay! Woo! Get on up here! Get on up here! Yay! I'm so excited! Look at that's you, right? All right, it's Christopher Waugh, Manager of Platform Architecture from Radiology Partners. I am so excited for you. So wait, I have something for you. So hold on. Look at this. This contains all the important information.
Okay.
Don't lose it, okay?
Yeah,
So there are also 2 Lewis Hamilton signed hats in here. So you are going to have such a great time. I want a picture when you're down there in the paddock because I want to see those Pure Storage arrays. Christopher, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Awesome. That's how you do it, guys. You don't go out too late in Vegas. All right, so it is fitting that we are here in Vegas. Just outside of town in the desert, it is the home and future home of major exascale data centers. You might have even seen one on the plane when you were coming in. They're built with 100% green, renewable power, next-gen cooling, and super efficient data storage. These are the data centers of the future. And look, if I'm a betting girl, I bet you're not going to find a whole lot of spinning disk out there in the desert. This is where we're heading. And the next keynotes are going to focus on how we'll get there together. So, first up, we are going to have Coz and Amy Fowler. They are going to take the stage, and they are going to talk about the incredible pace of flash innovation and that we are leading here at Pure. We have, hands down, the smartest engineers on the planet. They're amazing, and what they've done for the data center is absolutely outstanding. I can't wait to share it with you. Our Chief Product Officer, Ajay Singh, who also has the best dance moves, he is going to bring out a very special customer, and you're going to hear how they're leveraging the cloud to power the smartest, most sustainable buildings in the world. And then, my man Rob Lee, he's going to come out here and share how to build AI-ready data centers of the future that do not sacrifice sustainability. And finally, we'll close out with Sean Rosemarin. He's going to give you a framework to go out there and level up with all that you've learned here. PSA, if you are looking for a session that digs into even more cloud strategy, I encourage you to go check out the Cloud Repatriation, Turning Compromise into a Historic Strategic Business Decision session. Try saying that really fast. It's really hard. So today's going to be amazing, folks. It's time to level up and chart your path into the future. I think that you've heard this over the last few days. 3 very important words. Disk is done. I want you to say it with me, and I want you to say it loud. Disk is done. You don't need disk anymore. So let's get this party started. Please welcome to the stage our founder and chief visionary officer, I like to call him the Wizard of Coz, and general manager of FlashBlade, Amy Fowler.
So, Coz, what did you think about what you heard yesterday?
Well, you know, Charlie talked about our 4 sustainable advantages, and I love all 4 of them. I love Evergreen, but my favorite really is the pace of innovation in Flash and what we're doing there.
Doesn't surprise me. But I guess the question is, how big of a deal is this really, right? Is this just another super cool set of product and feature announcements, or are we at some kind of meaningful inflection point right now?
I think we are at a monumental inflection point. In the words of Doc Brown from Back to the Future, where we're headed, we don't need any disk.
That's exactly what he said, right?
So, Amy, you know, you've been with us for 10 years. What have you seen?
Well, in the past 10 years, let me think. If memory serves, 10 years ago, disk drives were about 4 terabytes. I think you have one right there, which was pretty good relative to when they were first introduced decades before that at a few megabytes and something the size of like a washing machine. And we were shipping 512 gig SSDs. We were still in off-the-shelf SSDs at the time. They look like that. We could put about 22 of them in a system for about 5.5, not petabytes, terabytes, right? But what's amazing is that in just these past 10 years, well, disk has gotten to like 20, 24 terabytes. Still looks like that. Still takes the same amount of power to spin and cool. Flash, as we've seen, our Flash, we've got DFMs at 48 terabytes for quite some time now. We can put 200 of them into a single Flash blade, so that's about 10 petabytes in a single system. So pretty big changes.
Yeah, it is. And, we're coming out with these guys. This is 75 terabyte modules coming out with that later this year. And we're going to be able to put 30 terabytes or 30 petabytes in a single system. You think about how much that's changed over the years. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it is really tremendous. So just to recap, let's do a little math. 10 years, disk improved by a factor of about 5. And that same 10 years, our density got 150 times better. So that's just at the media level, right? So I guess the question I have is, are we going to make DFMs that are 150 times bigger than they are now a decade from now?
That would be an 11 and a quarter petabyte module. I think that's probably a little bigger than we might get to, but only a little bit. To give you an example, this is a mock-up of a 150 terabyte module that will ship towards the end of next year. And we don't need to invent some wonderful new physics for it, as the disk guys are struggling to grow. This is the same flash chips that we have on the 75, just we've managed to put twice as many of them onto the module. And we managed to cool them properly. So 150, we're going to go to 300 the year after that as we get some new NAND. And the NAND isn't being driven by SSDs, it's being driven by billions and billions of cell phones and other devices that want to keep packing it. So that roadmap's not going to stop. After 300 terabytes, we'll go shortly, I'm not going to say right the year after, but we'll soon go to 600 and even a petabyte in a module. And it's just, as disk keeps struggling to grow, the gap is going to widen and widen year after year from disk to flash, and it's just huge.
It is huge. And it's kind of wild to think about. You just mentioned, 30-something, right? So if we were selling a petabyte of flash, 10 years ago, which I wish we were, but no one was buying a petabyte of flash 10 years ago, it would have taken about 30 full racks, right? And we're right around the corner from fitting 100 petabytes in one rack, right? So that's 3,000 times more efficient in just one decade. So I guess the other big question is really, all right, how come all the storage vendors aren't going to be able to keep up with us on this curve? Why won't they be able to continue to extend that gap with off-the-shelf SSDs?
So, it's really, there's a couple of keys. One is the Purity software. So what we've done is we've taken all of the complex functions out of the device and moved it into the software in our controller. It allows us to build much simpler devices that don't fail as often. And when you think about it, when I talk to you about building a 300, a 600 terabyte DFM, the first thing you think is, oh my God, what happens when one of them fails? Well, our direct flash modules are already failing at about 1/6 the rate of SSDs, and they're just going to keep getting better with that. It's because we've taken all the complexity out of them, and we've handled those problems in the software. So the wear leveling, the garbage collection, all of that sort of flash management, it's all in our controllers rather than in the direct flash modules. The other thing is if you open up an SSD, because they have all that complexity inside, they actually have about 1 byte of DRAM for every 1,000 bytes of NAND. Take a 30 terabyte SSD, open it up, you'll see roughly 30 gigabytes of DRAM. Take a 300 terabyte SSD, and you'd open it up, you'd need to see 300 gigabytes of DRAM, and you can't fit that. It's not as reliable. That's a cause of failures. It takes up power. It's expensive. And with things like that, the gap is going to keep widening between a direct flash approach and an SSD-based approach. And, disk is done. SSDs are not the answer. It's direct flash. That's the answer. And it's the software and Purity that we've been working on for 10 years. So since Amy started with us 10 years ago, we've been working on that software. We've been making it better year after year. And that's the secret sauce that drives the gap.
Well, you should take more credit for that. Must have been the catalyst, right? All right, so this is all super exciting. But I think the real key here is, in terms of this widening gap that we have, is that it's really about how these huge leaps in technology can impact everyone in this room, right? How does this impact our customers? Because when big seismic shifts like this happen, things materialize that we couldn't previously have even conceived of, right? New concepts, new businesses, new jobs, new ways of life. And Charlie talked yesterday about that transition from LPs to CDs and how fast that happened. The paradigm that I think about that has affected our lives in a different way is how we watch TV, right? Like, remember TGIF? We used to want to be in front of the TV at a certain time on Friday nights. At least that was my life in the 80s. I mean, with streaming services, it's completely changed how we watch TV, how we live our lives in a big way, right? And I mean, now we have binge watching, right? Like, who thought that was going to happen?
Amy, have you binge watched anything interesting lately?
Okay, so I watched this show that people have been telling me about for years. They're like, you have to watch it. It's called The Big Bang Theory. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that you guys have watched it. You get that, right? So anyway, yes, I quite enjoyed it. How about you? You've been watching anything?
I don't have time to binge watch. I'm too busy trying to rid the planet of spinning rust.
Well, okay, it's probably a much better use of time, I'll give you that, and it's definitely a very big deal. But in both cases, when a mainstay of life goes into obsolescence, whether it is TGIF or it is disk drives, we're witnessing history, right? Like, this is a pretty big deal.
It is history, and replacing disk with flash is the only way forward. We've got to build really efficient data centers. You think about the power problems, the space problems. Efficient data centers, all-flash data centers are the foundation for the future. And by the way, Amy, if you want, you can catch out this nice VHS tape.
I don't have a VHS player. I don't know. I didn't think my kids would know what this is. And if I was going to binge watch something on a VHS player, it wouldn't be Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. But thank you.
Oh. Okay. Well.
No offense.
No. I have watched that. I don't have a player either, by the way. But seriously, the transition to flash, the capacity, the power savings, the performance, all the software we do to enable it, that's where the magic happens. And we're going to help save the planet while we're doing this transition.
Well, helping save the planet is certainly a compelling argument, and I think we'll hear more about that from Rob Lee in a bit. But first, let's hear about our next Breakthrough Award.
Since its founding after the Second World War, the Scottish Government Agriculture and Rural Economy Directorate has worked hard to create food security through sustainable growth in agriculture and help small communities thrive. From Flash Array to Evergreen to Portworx, the Directorate has built a fertile technology landscape on Pure Storage. It can support online subsidy claims, protect data, and meet regulatory requirements, all while creating the next wave of agricultural advancements reliably and cost-effectively. In agriculture, innovation is always in season. The Scottish Government Agriculture and Rural Economy Directorate is this year's EMEA Greatest of All Time winner for keeping Scotland's rural economy thriving and continuing to protect and nurture a secure and sustainable food supply.
All right, well, congratulations to the Scottish Government Agricultural and Rural Economy Directorate. All right, before we hand it over, I just want to mention one session that you don't want to miss today. It's Expanding the Pure E family. It's happening at 11 a.m. And now, to speak about modern apps, cloud, and Portworx, please welcome our Chief Product Officer, Ajay Singh.
Thank you, Amy and Cause. So throughout this event, you've heard us talk about innovation and our drive to create a portfolio designed to solve some of the biggest storage and data problems you're facing today and will face in the future. I'm here to talk more about that future. Amy and Cause just shared with you our density roadmap, a key driver in DID, disk is done. We've also shared with you our cloud operating model. But what do we really mean by that? And how do we leverage our powerful software to make data movement between on-premises and in the cloud more seamless. It means a world of contrasts, from rigid to flexible, from manual to highly automated, never needing to be over-provisioned, and from disparate to unified. The first pillar of the cloud operating model is about unlocking flexibility and speed in how infrastructure services are configured and used, and being able to quickly start and dynamically adjust to change. The second pillar of the cloud operating model is change management model, where automation is a first-class citizen. Management has traditionally been highly manual and reliant on knowing exactly what you need and which knobs to turn. And lastly, the last pillar, or third pillar of the cloud operating model, is how you consume and pay for storage. You want more freedom in paying for what you use, and you're no longer asked to predict and pre-buy or overbuy for what you think you will need at some future state. And by no coincidence, the Pure Storage portfolio is aligned with the cloud operating model to enable our customers to consume like a cloud, run like a cloud, and build for the cloud. Now let's talk about how customers can consume like a cloud. Here it requires having a service delivery mentality. Most people think that is CapEx versus OpEx, or having a subscription. And while that is an important factor, the real heart of delivering a service is about getting a predictable outcome via SLAs. With Evergreen One, we deliver 5 enterprise-grade SLAs, and have recently expanded to offer an optional SLA for ransomware recovery. This is all about creating predictability behind service levels. Beyond that, delivering a service is about transparency, understanding the life cycle of all the touch points to ensure consistent service delivery gets better over time. Here, Pure has expanded into service operations lifecycle management and has built that capability into Pure One. Pure differentiates with real SLAs with hard accountability that are in product through our service management with transparent, full service lifecycle visibility versus an opaque CapEx to OpEx repackaging with a lot of professional services as glue. And finally, to raise the bar on the cloud operating model, we can even do better than some of the cloud solutions today, where developers have to choose which instance types and trade performance and cost and manage the environment themselves. Here we are talking about expanding into FinOps, where financial policies for either performance, cost, and availability are available, and all implementation is abstracted away. This is differentiated even beyond the simplicity of the cloud consumption model. Next, you want to run like the cloud, and Pure Cloud Block Store and Pure Fusion get you there. Today, Cloud Block Store provides seamless data mobility with simple, efficient replication from on-premises to cloud or from cloud to cloud. Tomorrow, we will be making data mobility invisible by leveraging the same Purity software on-premises and in the cloud. That way, you keep control of your destiny by keeping control of your data over time. And now to Pure Fusion. Fusion brings the simplicity of a new cloud operating model, allowing end users on-demand storage consumption on premises and in the cloud while automating all the back-end provisioning. We're expanding the data protection features of Fusion, offering customers the ability to define replication and retention policies. End users can simply apply these policies to their data sets and perform self-service restores. We're also working to include more of the Pure product family into Pure Fusion, allowing the provisioning of file and object services across FlashBlade, FlashArray, in the same object model, taking performance, density, and data availability into account. And lastly, to build for the cloud, customers want to take advantage of all the opportunities that cloud native can bring to them. Portworx has been a leader in cloud native storage for years. And what they deliver can help you use containers and Kubernetes and deliver data management, data protection, and data services for modern applications and get them to production and scale quickly. Think of Portworx as your data partner for containers and Kubernetes. Now to hear directly from someone innovating with cloud-native applications to drive their business forward, let's hear from a Portworx customer, Senior Vice President of Platform and Reliability, Johnson Controls International, Suresh Mutikuru. But first, take a look.
What defines a space or place? Is it stone or steel or walls? Is it how it makes us feel? Or is there something beyond? Johnson Controls, in collaboration with our customers and partners, is leading a fundamental transformation of how spaces and places are perceived and enjoyed. This transformation is taking us beyond buildings. Now, spaces have memory and identity. They become like ecosystems, balancing and responding to the flow of information, services, and people. A physical location becomes a kind of stage for digital amenities and learning opportunities. This is how a space comes alive. It's not only about adding intelligence. It's about creating new relationships, new harmonies between people and spaces. Applying data from both inside buildings and beyond, our customers can now manage operations systemically, improving sustainability. This is how value keeps building. Spaces and places are opening up to new possibilities. This transformation has a name: OpenBlue, a dynamic new space from Johnson Controls.
Welcome, Suresh. Super excited to have you here with us on main stage at Accelerate.
Yep. Thank you, Ajay, and good morning, everyone. Good morning.
So Johnson Controls is a huge multinational organization with over 100,000 employees in more than 150 countries. I'm sure almost everybody in the audience has heard about JCI.
Yep.
But perhaps if you could share a bit about the history of Johnson Controls, the company, vision, and your role.
Yeah, thank you. I think JCI has a really unique history, and I know probably some of you have read about it. Warren Johnson, he's from Whitewater, Wisconsin, small town. He's an innovator, inventor. 1883, he had a patent for thermostat. And then he said, OK, I'm not going to build a company in a small town. He moved to Milwaukee, and he found a couple good investors, and then they founded the company in 1885. So in 1885, we had the first thermostat that was invented by Warren Johnson, and we started as a controls company. That's what thermostats do, isn't it? But today we are in security, fire solutions, smart home, access solutions. Anything that you see in a building, we manufacture, and our goal is to really make sure not only manufacture, but also connect them and leverage them. And this is where you guys hear the term Open Blue, and that's why I'm wearing a blue jacket today, so that you guys know there's a connection, and how you guys are all orange. Nobody gave me something orange, so that's on you guys. So that's on you guys. So I joined Johnson Controls 2 years ago, and is on this initiative of Open Blue. And Open Blue is a digital arm of Johnson Controls. And the idea of Open Blue, I'll just talk a little bit about it in a little bit. But why did I join JCI? I joined JCI 2 years ago to lead platform engineering, SRE, reliability engineering, and then the DevOps and customer support and whatnot. But recently, 3 months ago, I also have this responsibility of delivering the solution to our customers. So I'm in a very unique position where I get blamed from my internal customers, which is our engineers, and I'm also getting blamed from my external customers because I'm delivering. I was just kidding. I get kudos, guys. Come on. Nobody blames Suresh. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Suresh.
Yeah.
Suresh, we saw the brief introduction to Open Blue in the video. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? How does JCI conceive the idea?
Yeah.
And how does this technology and data bring it to life?
Yeah. So I think, as you guys know, IoT is pretty big for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And everybody's talking about data. Data is gold. Data is gold. And what Johnson Controls did not do like 5 or 7 years ago, or even 3 years ago for that matter, we have all these assets. If you take this building, we definitely have assets, Johnson Control assets. We have not connected the assets, and we are not collecting the data. So the idea of Open Blue is to connect to every asset that's out there globally and collect the data and use the data to really build. We're going after multiple outcomes, but there are 3 outcomes that we are really focused on. The first one is sustainability. And you all know today, every board meeting, CEO, and politically it's being discussed about carbon footprint. So our goal, just from a numbers perspective, 40% of carbon emissions come from buildings. So our job, as a good company to our customers and to really our future customers, we want to make sure that we really tackle the energy crisis, the energy spend, meet their carbon reduction program, as well as net zero. That's on sustainability. The second thing that we are focused on is the assets itself. So Johnson Controls has been in business for 135 years, and you guys know some of them have these assets 40 years ago, 50 years old. So what we are trying to do is, by connecting to that asset, we just want to make sure that they're getting the reduction in energy that they're supposed to get. The asset itself is compliant, and then the asset is, safe and secure. So I think that's the second outcome that we're focusing on. The third outcome is pretty unique. It really happened because of COVID. So during COVID, everybody say, hey, 2 people, you cannot be in the building, or 3. So we developed a cool application, multiple of them actually. And the idea behind it is we can tell, hey, in this room, there's like 400 people. And it should not have more than, 200, because the air quality is not good in this room because there's 400 people, and a lot of people had too many drinks yesterday night, and it's not good, for our health. So we can really give ideas and create these healthy spaces. And our focus from a vertical is healthcare right now. Yeah. Healthcare, higher education, but healthcare, this healthy buildings is what we are trying to focus on. So, but we have other use cases. I just would like to touch on those 3, given the time that we have. So
amazing.
Yeah.
And your team is responsible for digital delivery and operations. How does Portworx fit into your strategy?
So 2 years ago, when I really started this journey, I'm a big believer in foundation. So I really don't like to throw buzzwords. I always try to focus on, so what do I need to really build? What is the vision of us as an organization, vision of Open Blue, and what is that we need to deliver to our customers? So as part of that process, we identified, we know where we want to go. So we want to be cloud agnostic. We want to be multi-cloud. So today we run in AWS, Azure, GCP, and Alibaba. And so we know those are the targets that we have to hit. And we also made an architecture decision that everything should run in containers. So we're approximately 13,500 containers right now. So it's a lot of workload, as you were talking about earlier. And that's where Portworx came into picture strategically, because I think Portworx is the leader when it comes to managing workloads in Kubernetes. And we picked Portworx for that reason. And then there's one other big reason we picked Portworx is we promised to our board as well as to our customers that we will be SOC compliant. So as part of that, we have to really have this HADR solution, and Portworx helped us to really create a fantastic DR solution as well as a HA solution. And because one great thing about Portworx is we can move workloads in real time.
Yes.
You're not even talking about hours, in real time. So strategically, that's why we picked it.
So yeah, you mentioned multi-cloud. So how does Portworx help you on the multi-cloud quest in your team?
So it's all about data at the end of the day, isn't it? Right. We talked about data, securing your data, moving your data, accessing your data. So Portworx helps us to really manage our workloads between clouds. And then also from a deployment perspective, okay, we developed, our platform is called as Polaris, okay? And Polaris touches three major pieces. The infrastructure and the software should be common, and CI/CD. And then the third piece is observability. So Portworx is running in all these, in this Polaris platform, Portworx is the backbone, and we use to migrate workloads at the same time. For our deployment, we use for pre-validation. We really copy the data, validate everything, and then just rename the cluster, validate, and then move it. So it's really, and then there's three other use cases we're looking into it. But I can speak a lot about what it does technically. But yeah, given the time,
Yeah. So maybe what is the future of OpenBlue and Portworx? A few words on that.
So there's we talk about a lot of cyber threat right now, isn't it? In today, even we talk a lot about AI, but even with the AI, people concerned about what's really going to happen from a security standpoint. And there's a lot of focus on cyber. So when we built our Polaris platform to run OpenBlue, security was our prime focus. So we were really looking into how can we, if there's an incident that happened, say right now, how can I really go back 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a snapshot and use that snapshot to really figure out what is, how to compare it, what's the difference. So we use Portworx for that. We're planning to use, and then the other big thing is we are global. We have 1,100 offices across the globe. We are deploying in all regions right now. Right now we're working in Saudi, Australia, Canada, and there's 3 more. So we're going to grow, and we have a growth plan till 2027. And I think Portworx is going to be a key player, and you guys are going to grow with us. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to hear how Johnson Controls has evolved over the last 140 years. We are really proud to be part of the team helping Johnson Controls on the quest. So thank you for being here and being such a valued customer, Suresh. We're also thrilled to announce that JCI this year is the Cloud Champion Breakthrough Award winner. Let's hear more.
Yeah, thank you.
Smart, safe, and sustainable. That's been the mantra for Johnson Controls since its founding in 1885. Today, it offers the world's largest portfolio of connected building technologies, transforming the spaces where people live, work, learn, and play. With a multi-cloud strategy, including Portworx, Johnson Controls is ushering customers into a new era of autonomous buildings that are more intelligent and energy efficient than ever before. From application development to data recovery, Johnson Controls is bringing consistency and reliability to its cloud environment to deliver advanced building services like data-driven safety systems and features like touchless data access. Because modern buildings are more than a collection of materials and HVAC systems. They're an environment where people can thrive. Congratulations to Johnson Controls on being named the 2023 Cloud Champion for redefining the blueprint of building design.
Congratulations to JCI and Suresh. Thank you so much for coming here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
As you've heard others say, that in the past 2 days, we are all excited about the data center and the cloud experience of the future. If you didn't know already, disk is done, and you don't need it now. But before I hand things over to Rob, I have a few sessions for you to check out and after this particular keynote. To learn more about Portworx, join the Portworx kickoff at 11 a.m. in Jasmine Ballroom F, and learn more about Cloud Block Store at 1 p.m. at Jasmine A. Now, over to Rob Lee, who will speak to two of the biggest, most relevant topics for our customers today. With that, please welcome Rob Lee.
Well, hello. This is great. The room's filling in a bit more. This is good stuff. We found some of the folks that were out a little bit late last night. You guys have a good time yesterday? You enjoy Shaq? Yeah? You guys enjoy our CMO Matt Bird trying to rap with Shaq? Yeah, a little bit less so. A lot of great sessions yesterday. I saw hugely packed breakout rooms, great energy in the expo floor. We got a lot more coming today. Excited to tee up two topics today that are on top of really everybody's minds. Number one, AI. Number two, sustainability. So let's start with AI. Right? You can't turn on the TV, you can't look at the news, much less come to a tech conference these days without hearing about AI. I was at the blackjack table the other night. The dealer's talking to me about ChatGPT. It's everywhere. What is clear, right, is things are moving really fast. It's got everyone excited. Everyone's trying to figure out how am I going to use this technology to change what I do? How am I going to fold this into what I do? How am I going to accelerate? How am I going to make this give me a competitive advantage out there? We've had the privilege here at Pure of working with a whole variety of truly innovative, bleeding-edge companies in defining this space. And I want to share a little bit of what we've seen along the way today. So let's start with AI training environments. Quite simply, we are leaders in this space. We've started our journey in this space in 2017 with FlashBlade. We worked very closely with NVIDIA to bring out the world's first AI-ready infrastructure in AIRI. Now, since then, we've grown considerably. As Charlie mentioned yesterday, we're now supporting over 100 customers across a wide variety of AI use cases, everything from self-driving cars to financial services, quantitative trading, everything in the middle. Probably one of our best-known customers is Meta. You guys have heard us talk about it. You've heard them talk about it. We started working with Meta in 2017 as part of a research effort. They've now partnered with us to build the world's largest research supercluster, the largest AI supercomputer in the world. All right. So we've worked with a lot of customers over the years. What have we learned? A couple things. Number one, performance. Performance is key. Wow, OK, you're sitting there like, yeah, performance, of course. AI is really a game about, it's a game of who can collect the most data, who can get the biggest data set, who can feed into GPUs the fastest, who can do that over and over again. And it's critical to have performance there, right? Because you've got really expensive resources waiting for you, whether those resources are GPU servers that are hard to get your hands on, whether they're machine learning scientists who you're paying a lot of money to. If those resources are waiting for data, if they're waiting to be fed, they're sitting idle, they're not doing your job. Now, what's also important is being able to have high performance across a wide variety of different data types. Right? If you look at where AI has come from, where it's going, we're working with images, video, text, audio, the whole 9 yards. Right? And so you've got to have high performance across a wide variety of different data types, access patterns, what we call multimodal high performance. And so when you net this out, right, high performance, highly parallel, it's got to be multimodal. This is exactly what we build FlashBlade for. Now, the other part of performance that's sometimes a little bit less appreciated is all of the work that goes into managing and collecting the data before it gets fed into GPUs and so on. Back in the day, there was a bit of a statistic that said, in data science, about 85% of the work and time spent is actually in preparing the data to be analyzed. Now, I'm not sure what that looks like today with AI, but the point is it's considerable. Right? And so if you think about the performance, you think about the responsiveness of all the systems that collaborate to collect data, to bring it in, your back office systems, the systems to manage, curate, index, label data, all of that stuff matters as well. All right, number two, flexibility. Right? I'm not going to stand up here and predict the future of AI. Things are just simply moving too quickly. But things are moving so quickly, the tools, techniques, data sets, algorithms are changing day by day. Right? And when things are moving this quickly, the only thing you can plan for is you don't really know what's ahead of you. You've got to plan for flexibility. You look at where AI started. 5, 6 years ago, we were celebrating computers playing chess against each other. We had hot dog versus not hot dog. We've got medical imaging. These days, self-driving cars, chatbots. This stuff is moving so quickly. And what this highlights is a need to invest in a technology set, infrastructure on up, that's going to set you up to be able to adapt, to evolve, right? If you lock yourself into a tech stack that's too inflexible, you're absolutely going to get left behind. Number 3, reliability, right? Make no mistake, these are absolutely mission-critical environments. So you look at the amount of money being poured into these environments, you look at the stakes, you look at the arms race that's out there, downtime, data loss, it's just, you can't have it, right? And so these are absolutely mission-critical environments. One of the biggest concerns that folks are trying to grapple with and try to figure out with large-scale AI training is data privacy, data governance, right? So security controls, governance, data management, all of these things become critical. And then lastly, efficiency. Right? We know a couple things, right? Data scales are going to grow. You're going to have lots of it. You're going to have more GPUs. Servers and CPUs are getting more and more power hungry. Power is not growing. Your availability is not growing quite as quickly. You've got to invest in efficient infrastructure. So if you net this out, performance, flexibility, reliability, efficiency, these probably aren't the things that come to mind when you start an AI project, but they really should be. Right? Our most successful customers in this space are beginning with the end in mind. So switching gears a little bit, not every customer out there is going to go train their trillion parameter LLMs or build their own generative models. But pretty much everybody's trying to figure out how they can realize the benefits of AI. Right? Things are, again, evolving so quickly. These models are going to cover pretty much every type of data set. You're going to have general intelligence out there. Now, the challenge is, how do you connect that general intelligence? How do you connect the last mile? How do you connect it to the data that's running your business? And in some ways, it's really actually not that different than training humans, right? Think about it this way: you go hire a new college grad, you troll the best universities in the land, you pick the best and brightest student, you bring them in. How effective an employee are they day one, right? They're pretty smart, but they don't know anything. They don't know anything about your business. You've got to train them. You've got to on-ramp them. Training computers, not that different. Right? And so the key to getting good results here, the key to making use of this technology, is connecting the AI-powered general intelligence, those algorithms, those applications, to your data. So data is key. There was actually a paper or a memo that was released, leaked, I don't know, was posted out of Google recently. It's pretty interesting. It's called "We Have No Moat," and there's a lot of stuff in this memo. But one of the conclusions, one of the points of the memo was, in the future, the secret sauce isn't, all the neural networks and the training and the GPUs. The secret sauce is going to be in the data. The winner is going to be the folks that, have the high-quality data, domain-specific, that are deeply attached to the use case, to what's trying to be achieved. And so we know that data is important. You need lots of it. But it also can't be cold, right? The whole idea of collecting lots of data for AI is you've got to actually be able to access that data. So it's pretty clear that this is a space where you just simply have no opportunity to have cold data. It also can't be siloed. It's got to be accessible, right? And so, again, I keep telling you, I can't tell you, the exact future of how AI is going to play out, but there are a couple of first principles that are pretty clear. Right? Number one, no cold data. Disk simply just has no place here. And the data's got to be warm. It's got to be on flash. It's got to be accessible. And it's got to be accessible based on things like security and policy and compliance and governance, not infrastructure limitations. Right? You've got to get yourself away from silos. You've got to implement more of a cloud operating model. All right, so let's switch gears. I'm getting the red blinky light here. Sustainability, second most common topic on top of customers' minds. Charlie put up some numbers yesterday. 1 to 2% of data center, 1 to 2% of global energy spent in data centers. A bunch of it's in storage. I've seen estimates that in the next decade that might even double. So big numbers, lots of energy. Our ability to produce that energy is not scaling. To put this in perspective, what do we have? 113 terawatt hours. To put this in perspective, by the end of the decade, the amount of energy consumed by data centers is about enough to power every single home in California. Kaz mentioned Doc Brown earlier. I was doing some math behind stage. This is about the equivalent of sending 100,000 or so DeLoreans back to the future. So energy is hard to get. It costs a lot. Companies are taking this seriously. Half of the publicly listed companies in the US have set long-term energy reduction goals. So many of your employers, governments are getting involved. We're seeing data center build-out, expansion, power draw bans and moratoriums from all around the world. Ireland, Singapore, even parts of the US. Right? And this is reflective of a couple things, but mainly it's that energy is hard to get to. It's hard to produce, right? We just don't have enough of it. In the sustainability conversation, sometimes, there's a lot of elements of it. You hear people talking about carbon credits, planting trees, renewables. I'm a simple guy. I think you basically have three strategies here, right? You can either reduce the demand, right? Use less energy. You can improve the supply, go to renewables. You can mitigate the impacts, like plant some trees. Now, don't get me wrong, all of these are good. Planting trees is great, do that. Renewables are great. Here at Pure, we use entirely or almost entirely renewable energies. But the biggest impact that you can make, right, the biggest way to break through the limitations is just simply to use less energy. And that's really what we're doing for you. So the net of this is, energy, space efficiency, these are real limitations. You simply, in a lot of places, can't get more of it. If it's not already part of your buying decision and technology selection, it absolutely has to be. Don't get me wrong, this is as much of a limiter as speeds and feeds, as features. You absolutely have to be starting with this in mind. Now, I've talked a lot about power. We talk about power a lot. But the other element of this is also reducing footprint and e-waste, right? If you can, deploy denser solutions, more effective solutions from a space perspective, that's less space you got to pay for in the data center, less materials that have to be produced, sourced, shipped. It's less cost and labor to go and manage that, and it's less waste at the end of the day, less landfill that we're generating. All right, so how do we get there? From a storage perspective, it's about a couple things. Kaz and Amy talked about direct flash, showed you the density roadmap. That's a huge lever, right? We talked about 150x improvement over the last 10 years. That's 150x the power efficiency that we've driven. Data reduction, right? We've pioneered deduplication, compression. Those have just gotten better and better and better over the years. That helps too. Lastly, Evergreen. Well, OK, how does Evergreen help? Well, Evergreen, the promises we deliver in Evergreen, the ability to grow and scale without taking disruption, eliminates one of the most wasteful elements of technology buying, which is overbuying. Right? You don't have to overbuy on day one. You know that you can expand. You know you're not going to get left behind. And we supercharge that with Evergreen One. Right? With Evergreen One, we'll go and work with you. We'll go and work with you to deploy the gear just as you need. We'll go and work with you specifically on meeting those energy SLAs. All right. So how much can we really save here? Charlie put up some numbers, 2 to 5x better than all flash, better than 10x compared to the systems that we're typically replacing. But let's talk about what customers are telling us. Right? I was meeting with a customer recently. They measured the impacts that they were seeing after deploying Pure Gear. They came back and said, we're now consuming on the storage side of the house 85% less energy in our data centers. We're producing 97% less e-waste. Forget the number here. 96% less space on the systems that they had before. So my point is, it's absolutely significant, right? And the best part of this is we're just getting started. You heard Kaz, you heard Amy. They were talking about where we're headed with our density roadmap. We've got the opportunity in the years ahead to further improve these benefits by an order of 3, 4, 5x and beyond. All right. So I'm way over my time. Sorry about that. Just to recap, we hit a lot of topics today. AI, right? If you're planning on building, start with the end in mind. Performance, flexibility, reliability, efficiency. If you're planning on using, think about how you're managing data. No more cold data. Disk has no place here. Implement a cloud operating model, right? And then all around, if you're not thinking about space, power, energy efficiency as part of your technology selection and buying decisions, you absolutely must be. All right. So next, I'm excited to welcome to the stage a customer who's made an incredible impact in reducing his company's environmental footprint. In a moment, I'm going to bring Ajit Sharma, who's the Business Optimization Manager for Virgin Media O2 to the stage. But first, let's cue the video.
She's like the wind through my tree. She rides the night next to me. She leads me to moonlight, only to burn me with the sun. She's taking my heart, but she doesn't know what she's done. Feel her breath in my face, her body close to me. Can't look in her eyes.
Why walk when you can ride? Introducing the fastest Wi-Fi guarantee of any major provider.
Please help me welcome Ajit to the stage.
Thank you.
All right, Ajit, before we get started, a couple things. I noticed they didn't give us the shack-sized couch, so I'm a little bit...
I did see that.
little bit upset about that. Number two, you know, those socks are awesome. Can we get the camera guy come in a close-up on the socks? Look at that. You got the Pure logo in there. I'm only pointing this out because we're a little bit competitive here, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows that some of us prepare our customers a little bit better with the swag.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Rob.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the stage, Ajit. Thank you for spending time with us today. Could you maybe just start by telling us a little bit about the Virgin Media O2 story?
Yeah, sure. So happy to be here, everyone, and good morning to everyone in Vegas. So we merged together in about 2 years ago with a company called Virgin Media and O2. So we're the UK's biggest telco with approximately 46 million customers in the UK. So we offer quad play, so that's anywhere from TV through to your mobile phone, through to fixed line and broadband. So if you think about it, every 2 out of 3 UK customers is one of our customers. So that's quite big. But where we've been really successful has been the huge demand in customer insights and some of the AIs and the analytics that you spoke about earlier.
Excellent. So, you know, we clearly very topical matters. You know, you guys have been focused on analytics. How do you build that into your business? But you guys have done a lot in sustainability as well, right? Really focused on driving efficiency. Can you maybe share a little bit about, you know, what you've done in the past and kind of what's changed over the years?
Sure. So we've been a Pure customer since 2016, and we embarked on a journey whereby we realized that sustainability and going forwards, the climate plays a big impact. And we were proud to choose Pure Storage due to A, its technical delivery, B, its ease of use, and then the third one was CSG and ESG. It was unbelievable. We reduced our data center footprint by 98%.
Wait, hang on, 98%?
98%.
So that's like 50x. Come on, 50x, guys.
Huge. Okay. And I think the key one for us was our reduction in power. We saved 96%. So we're in the high 90s. And if you look at where the market's going right now in terms of energy costs and everything else, to see a huge reduction in our power consumption costs is unbelievable. Plus, it helps the environment. So we couldn't think of a better thing to do than to buy Pure.
Wow. So those are some amazing numbers. You know, I'm curious because often in this conversation, you know, I talk to customers and they're kind of working through how do I balance what's best for the business versus what's best for, you know, sustainability and efficiency. How do you guys think through that?
So it's changed and developed quite a lot in the past few years. So when we used to run RFP tenders, sustainability maybe used to create maybe 1 or 2% of our overall weighting. It's now nearly 25 to 30%. And that's where Pure does really, really well. Your credentials and your credibility really helps us maintain that. So for us, it's a huge change. It's so important. If we don't make steps now, we're going to hurt the future. So now is the right time to be doing it.
Couldn't agree with you more. You know, I talked a little bit about you know, folding these concerns into everyday kind of technology decisions, buying decisions. You know, is this a top-down mandate? Are people all throughout the company thinking this way? Does this, you know, how do you create a culture within the company of driving to these outcomes?
So one of our key strategic actions and objectives is we're going to become carbon zero by 2040. And we started that journey already by replacing all our fleet of vans that currently use gas and diesel by now using all electric, and these are all sustainable energy. So we've started to make that step. I guess what's really been important is from top down, there's an investment decision. Money needs to be made available to drive sustainability. Without that money, sustainability is really, really difficult because as you can imagine, changing from A to B, you have to go through a journey. That not only just means a technology change, but also a change in culture. Change in culture is really important. It's got to be driven from the top to the bottom and make sure that everyone's involved, getting everyone on that journey.
Yeah, I got to start with the finance guy, right?
You've always got to go with the finance guy first, and that's always the difficult one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, on the other hand, you outlined very significant savings, 50x reduction in space, what do you say, 96%, so 20x reduction in power. That must drive tangible cost savings. Is there a virtuous cycle there to kind of put those dollars back to work into investing in other sustainability goals?
Absolutely. So in the last year alone, we got rid of over 48,000 tons of e-waste. That's equivalent of nearly 16 adult rhinos. So just trying to put that into perspective. So it's quite huge. And what we're seeing is the money that's being saved from e-waste and opportunities to reduce our costs, that's being refunded into other parts of the businesses. So as you can imagine, we've seen 4G, we've seen 5G. Well, guess what, guys? 6G is going to be out soon as well. So we need to reinvest our money in the right places. And this certainly helps us on that journey.
Gotcha. So you talked about ESG and kind of the considerations of around that area, driving a lot of decisions and investment. Where have you guys seen the biggest outcomes and benefits? Energy savings, space, sourcing, e-waste, across the entire spectrum of sustainability. Where have you seen the biggest benefits?
So for us, I think it's a case around, as you well know, the UK is a much more of a smaller country in terms of size. By us able to reuse and use sustainability, we don't have to go and build more data centers. So we're helping the UK and the community to ensure that we're not using more space that's required. So we're saving millions of pounds by not building new data centers. We are focusing and staying where we are now, but reducing our footprint. And we'll be able to do that thanks to Pure.
Awesome, awesome. Well, so in the last couple of minutes, I'm curious, what's next, for the future in Virgin Media? You talked about 6G. Whoops, cat's out of the bag. What else is next? What else is in the future?
So as you can imagine, it's an exciting journey. We've just merged as two big companies into one. We've got an exciting 5-year roadmap strategy. Most of that involves around AI, automation, and above all, how do we continue to reduce our costs? And that's where we're looking at AI significantly. And I think so with the help of Pure Storage, we can certainly look at different ways of doing things. And one of the things I'm really excited about, which I've learned in these last few days, is your E-Series. I think so that's really going to help us reduce our footprint even more. And above all, I think so make a good commercial decision for us.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for your time today. Everybody, a round of applause for Ajit.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, before I turn the mic over to our next and I believe last presenter, a couple announcements to make. Where's my clicker? There we go. Number one, to further our sustainability and environmental goals and contributions, thrilled to announce today that the Pure Good Foundation is making a significant donation, $25,000 to MBARI, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. Close to my heart. They're right down the street from me. They do some awesome work. I encourage you to go learn more on their website. Super happy that we're able to go and support their mission. Number two, a couple housekeeping items. Yes. Number two, a couple housekeeping items. We got some great breakout sessions throughout the rest of the day. One that I would highly encourage you guys to go check out is one around evergreen architectures at 3 p.m. In the Expo Center. And then with that, I'm pleased to bring to the stage Sean Rosemarin. Sean is our VP of R&D, Customer Engineering, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the shift to all flash and what that means for customers in the future. Sean.
Wow. I can't believe we're here on day 2. But I'll tell you, listening to Ajay and listening to Rob this morning, it's clear where the why is. It's clear why this move to flash and this density is so important. Because it brings simplicity, accessibility, and efficiency to storage to power the next 10 years of innovation. What you saw today is only the beginning. One thing is becoming increasingly clear. Like the transition from LPs to CDs and VHS and DVDs to streaming, Folks, we're in the midst of a tectonic shift in data storage. One that will be foundational for all enterprises and enable the next 10 years of innovation. Flash is the way forward. But you know, I think we should just all pause for a second and pay homage to the hard drive. After all, hard drive storage is almost 70 years old. Let's thank it for over a half a century of loyal service. At its origination, the industry's first hard drive held a mere 3.75 megabytes and weighed over a ton. In cost, it was the equivalent in today's dollars of $7,500 a month. But let's just extrapolate that. In today's dollars, that's the equivalent of paying $2 million per gig per month for storage. Hard drive innovation's been impressive. Over 67 years, we've seen tremendous innovations in both density and performance, from magnets to microwaves and even lasers. But like all great technologies, it's time for the spinning hard drive to pass the baton over to flash. This has already happened in the consumer space. And now enterprises and hyperscalers are embracing the all-flash data center. To illustrate my point, could you imagine carrying a smartphone around with a spinning hard drive attached to it? Or having a spinning hard drive inside your electric vehicle? It will become as ridiculous to have spinning hard drives in the data center. Let me remind you again of what Charlie said at the start of our event. There will be no new hard drives sold after 2028. This is not just a prediction, folks. At Pure, we believe it's inevitable. We believe this because we know the following three things to be true. Number one, we are all facing massive compounding data growth. Last year, the estimates were that we would see a little bit greater than 25% compounded data growth year on year from 2022 onwards. But these estimates were before the emergence and rapid adoption of large language models, generative AI copilots, all of which are creating more data than any of us can. And the data is going to need to live somewhere. And it'll need to be easily accessible in order to deliver on its promise of productivity. Point number two, energy and power are finite and expensive. Sustainability is our responsibility. I live in Vancouver, Canada, among some of the most beautiful mountains in the world. And I want them to stay that way for generations. In addition to that, the price of electricity continues to rise. Supply is constrained, and some countries are even running out of capacity. Even public clouds are reaching their power envelope because they're being turned away in countries from expansion due to power constraints. All of this is combined with our continued battle to slow climate change. While nuclear fusion claims to be the answer, and has claimed to be the answer for decades, it's still many years, if not decades, away. So going back to Rob's point, in order to power the future, we're going to need to put energy efficiency at the forefront of our data architectural plans. Point number three, the cloud operating model will be universal, from data centers to the public cloud to the edge. We will all consume IT infrastructure as a service, whether on-premise or in the public cloud, to enable maximum flexibility and agility. Remember, the public cloud was never about cost. It was about agility, and the operating model is what will carry forward. Some of you started this journey with us over a decade ago. Thank you. Some of you have moved to Pure more recently. Thank you. Some of you are here to see what's possible with Pure. Today, our portfolio and data platform is broader and stronger than ever, allowing you all to deploy the power, efficiency, and scale of Flash to all workloads. So what can you expect from us moving forward? Number one, we'll continue to treat data storage as high technology, not a commodity. And we will lead innovation with our Purity operating environment and direct flash modules. It will allow us to deliver maximum density and energy efficiency for all workloads. With 75 terabyte DFMs coming later this year, 150 terabytes next year, 300 terabytes in 2026. We'll be delivering 5 to 10 times the data density, all within your existing power footprint. Remember, folks, since Pure's origination, we've driven density by 150x. And if my math is correct, and if it isn't, Cos will let me know, we're going to drive density the next 5,000 times. We start talking about petabyte hard drives, petabyte DFMs, the density is only getting started. The fact is SSDs just don't measure up. What else can you expect from us? Well, number 2, we will help enterprises eliminate data silos and streamline their data pipeline, accelerating their journey to AI. Rob laid it out beautifully. The amount of storage required to build your repository, cache your nodes, feed your GPUs, take the results, optimize your queries. We've already seen it with hyperscalers like Meta and AI innovators like MediaZen, who's doing, language speech-to-text translation. We've partnered with them. We've allowing them to leverage Flash and accelerate their parallel performance and feed their hungry GPUs while maximizing the power efficiency of their neural networks. You can also expect us to continue to ruthlessly drive simplicity. Ruthlessly drive simplicity and automation across the portfolio with Fusion and Portworx. To be really clear, we're not just focused on the data center. We're focused on extending simplicity from traditional to modern apps and from the data center to the cloud. All of this in the interest of freeing up human capital who manage storage directly and allowing them to accelerate your innovation. Lastly, you can expect us to lead in delivering all of our technology as a service, providing our customers maximum flexibility, seamless data mobility, and non-disruptive upgrades for all data. Over the last 24 months, you all delivered a ton of rapid innovation. This innovation spread across your enterprise. You were asked to enable hybrid work. You were asked to reach new markets. You were asked to deploy record numbers of net new applications, all while executing global operational excellence. That's not an easy task. But when you're deploying at hyperspeed, like you were over the last couple of years, you don't have time to stop and evaluate your foundation. You just execute. As you leave Pure Accelerate, I'd encourage you to take some time. Take some time to celebrate and acknowledge all that you've accomplished. But also reflect on what you're going to need from your data foundation to power your next 10 years. The decisions you make today are critical. If you delay your transition to Flash, you'll be stuck missing out on incremental capacity and efficiency gains. Let me make this point really clear. The chassis you buy today will seamlessly move to 75, to 150, to 300. Put one of my competitors' chassis, they're not going to give you that path. You see, with Pure, you get to ride the all-flash wave and reap the benefits. To close off, over the last 2 days, you've heard about how Purity OS and DirectFlash technology is helping you, our customers, to achieve unparalleled gains in performance, reliability, and 10 times the efficiency of traditional hard drives. Sean Hansen launched our new generation X and C models. We also saw our portfolio expansion with FlashArray//E, bringing the economics of Flash to more and more workloads. Folks, I couldn't be more excited. We're just getting started. And when we think about the future, we really look forward to continuing to expand our relationship with you and power your next 10 years of innovation. While I can't predict all that lies ahead, one thing is certain. Flash is the future, and the future is now. Thank you. Now, let's find out who our last Breakthrough Award winner is. Let's roll the video.
A healthier life. It's what everyone with a rare and inherited disease hopes for. It's what the Health 2030 Genome Center is here for. Diagnoses often lie in hundreds of terabytes of genomic data, shaping treatment plans, shaping lives. And that's why speed matters. The Genome Center relies on Pure Storage FlashBlade running on Evergreen One to power DNA sequencing. Whether it's 200 gigabytes or 200 terabytes, Pure can manage the load, driving unprecedented computing power that accelerates research and patient diagnostics. And with Pure One, hours of daily operational tasks are a thing of the past, keeping storage capacity in line with actual needs, keeping patient data secure, and keeping the Genome Center focused on the mission at hand. The result? Researchers and clinicians can analyze data 10 times faster, and patients can finally get the answers they need to live their best lives. A true data warrior, the Genome Center, together with Pure, is changing the face and the pace of genomic medicine.
All right, congratulations to the Health 2030 Genome Center for this year's Data Warrior win. By the way, folks, I'd encourage you to check out the session of how to achieve cloud efficiency with Pure Fusion. Really extend on some of what Ajay talked about earlier and how we're going to drive automation across all Flash, freeing you up from worrying about which product to buy and instead thinking about what class of service do I want to offer, and how do I move the onus of the products over to Pure and start to pay as a service against those tiers. And so Fusion is going to power a lot of that automation orchestration for us. Now, couldn't be happier to close us off today. I'm going to welcome back our Chief Legal Counsel, Nikki Armstrong. Nikki, let's go.
Did Ivan show up? I'm kidding. We won't talk about Ivan. My gosh, I hope that if you were not inspired to level up, you are now. How exciting is it to hear from our valued customers like Suresh and Ajit? This is really, really exciting stuff. And I want you to know that everyone here at Pure Storage, from our engineers to our partner team, to our sales team, to the folks that manage everything behind the scenes, we are all here for you. And we're leveling up every day so that you can too. I think you've heard from so many people over the last few days, our purpose is also fueled by our passion and our ethos. And it's not just our vision for the future of data centers, but for our vision and of the future for the planet. And so with that, I am thrilled to announce this year's Pure Good Sustainability Award winner. Let's roll the video.
Building a greener future is a collective effort that starts at the top. As a leading Canadian IT shared services provider, InnovaPost is helping the country move towards its 2050 climate goals by providing superior technology services with an efficient IT infrastructure that delivers solutions that touch Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Together with consulting partner Wipro and Pure Storage, InnovaPost has reduced its data center storage footprint by 97%, lowered annual power consumption by almost 200,000 kilowatts, reduced data center CO2 emissions by more than 93%, and decreased storage cooling requirements by 92%, aligning to a more climate-friendly future with a fast, resilient storage environment that provides instant access to billions of data points. For pushing the envelope on IT innovation and delivering environmental wins across its ecosystem, InnovaPost is our Pure Good Sustainability Award winner.
Talk about the most sustainable operations. Congratulations, InnovaPost, on winning this very prestigious award. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention, before I let you all go, we are in June, and so it is Pride Month. So I want you to just remember, embrace diversity, empower equality, and celebrate love. Happy Pride Month. If you didn't get a Pure Pride pin, please make sure you stop by the registration desk. We have plenty. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend Accelerate this year. Thank you to our amazing sponsors and all of our customers, valued customers and partners out there. We can't do this without you. And so, please make sure you visit our sponsors in the zone. I will see you next year. And let's remember our 3 favorite words that we've been hearing throughout this week. What is that? What are they? I can't hear you. One more time. Disc is done. That's right. We don't need it anymore. Have a great Accelerate, folks. Thank you for coming.
I know you can't stay forever. I know you've got friends in the bathroom stall. Been wanting to do this since I met you. Can we just stay for? You just get distracted, see someone you know. I'll be waiting, getting impatient all alone. Go out on the balcony, light myself a smoke. Start talking to someone that I